Well, good afternoon, Center Hope. You've got Dean here for your daily devotional video, and it's a gorgeous day outside, so thought maybe I'd shoot this one from inside my office. No, just trying something different today, so we'll see how this one goes. Maybe I'll do more from in here, maybe I'll do from more outside. Have you ever heard the saying, I wish I knew then what I knew now? I'm sure we all have. Now here's the follow-up to that question. If in fact you knew then what you know now, would you do things differently? I know there's occasions that I certainly would. Let me tell you about one of those. I grew up out in the country, and from my house to any of the houses that were nearby, it was not a short distance. It was, in fact, at least a quarter of a mile, whatnot, to go visit anybody who happened to be nearby. That's the way we had our neighbors. That's the way we liked it. It was great. Well, one afternoon, the Saturday before Mother's Day, incidentally, I decided I wanted to go visit my buddy who lived just down the street, and so that meant jumping on my bike and going down to see him. Now, in order to go see him, I would have to leave my house to go to his house, but in between, the road kind of went like this. There was a valley and came up on the other side, and at the bottom of the valley, there was a bridge that went over top of the creek. Great. Why am I telling you that? We'll get to that later. So I jump on my bike and I go down, go up the other side, I go up to his house and nobody's home. Great. So what am I gonna do? I'll just go home. So I jump on my bike and I start heading home. And I should probably tell you that at this point in my life, I had this real genius way of riding my bike to ensure that I don't get hit by a car and I'm always safe. What I would do is ride into traffic. I know, stop shaking your head. I would ride into traffic because out in the country, you could see for quite a long way. So I could see if there was a car coming. If there was, I would switch over to the other side of the road. That way a car wasn't sneaking up behind me and hitting me. I always knew where the cars were. I can stay safe. Smart. So that's what I did. So I leave my buddy's place and I jump on my bike and I start riding home and I'm into oncoming traffic. Now, just to play it safe, because, you know, safety first, as I'm heading out on my trip to go home, I take a look behind me, make sure there's no cars coming, so I've got that taken care of. I look in front of me and I can see that there's a car coming and I know whereabouts it is because it's right beside the church. So that's 3/4 of a mile up the road. I know how much time I have. I've traveled that road quite a bit. I start going down the hill. I know the car's coming this way. I do another look behind, no cars coming. Fantastic. So I start going down the hill. I'm thinking, okay, you know what? He's probably up to where the Joneses are. I should likely get over it. And that's just as I'm getting to the bottom of the hill, right where that bridge is. So I'm thinking, good time, let's go. So I go to the other side of the road. I didn't check again. And there was a car right there. Didn't look, didn't hear it coming. What I did hear was the honk and the bang as that car hit my bike, and it hit on the wheel right behind my hip on the right hand side. The last thing I remember was seeing my bike fly past me in the air as I went through the air heading into the ditch. Now, the ditches out in the country, as you may or may not have known, if you've ever seen them, are pretty deep at the best of points. These ones were particularly deep. They had to be about 20 to 25 feet down off of the road. It went way down, and this was me flying down in there with a bike in tail. I wake up at the bottom of this ditch to people looking at me, and I gotta say, where I landed, I was about that far from landing right inside the creek, and my head was that far from a rock this big. I was literally in between a rock and a wet place. Now, either one of those spots, if I had moved about a foot and a half either way, would have ended very poorly for me. Yeah, I had somebody looking out for me. I certainly had somebody looking out for me. That made it very real that day. So, I wake up, people are looking at me, and you know, they get me up there, and my mother starts booking it across the line. She saw the whole thing happen because she heard the honk. She books it across the line. She comes down, she gets me, throws me in the car, goes up to St. Mary's to go to the hospital, where I find out that I had a broken blood vessel in my hip. That was it. Because of where I landed, the ground was so soft, it took most of the impact, and I was perfectly fine. Incidentally, this is the day before Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. So, I tell you that to say this. Would I have done that differently if I was able to go back and change it? Absolutely. I would not have been hit by a car that day, because I would know, first off, don't ride into traffic. Secondly, make sure there's not a car behind you before you change lanes. Right. So, would you do anything differently if you had the chance? I got thinking about this a little while ago. I got thinking about this with regards to Jesus. If he could go back and do things differently, would he have done things any differently? I think particularly the gardener, when he's getting ready the day before Easter, when he's praying and he's talking to God and saying, please let this cup pass from me. But if it's not going to, I'll still do this, because this is what your will is and not my will. Would he do things differently if he had the chance? No, I don't believe that he would. In fact, I'm sure that he wouldn't. He had an opportunity at that moment to walk away. He could have walked away and just left us in our sin and left us without a way to go to heaven, leaving us to continue doing the things that have always been done, which were not working. He could have left us, but he didn't. Why? Why didn't he leave us? Why didn't he just decide, I don't want to go through this horrific pain, all this torture, all this torment, for many people that I haven't even actually ever met? Why would he do that? Well, I decided to look that up. My wife has this little, what I would have called idiosyncrasy. And I pointed it out to her one day, only to find out that she was doing it for a reason, even though she didn't quite understand that she was doing it. She didn't realize she was doing it, but she understood why she was doing it. If she ever wants to make something really, really important or seem really important to get the point across, she will say the word or phrase 3 times in a row. It is very, very, very cold outside. I absolutely hate peanut butter and chocolate. That's actually me saying that, because they should never be together. Leave your comments down below for that, whatever. What I came to realize is she told me that in the Hebrew language, they repeated things 3 times to make sure that it was seen as important, to give it more emphasis. It's actually called the emphatic Semitic Triplicate. There you go. There's some knowledge dropped for the day. But she knew that. She learned that when she was a kid, and it actually incorporated into her head, so that when she went to go say that something is very important, she repeats it 3 times. Why am I telling you that? If someone tells you something 3 times in a row, it might seem like it's important. It might seem annoying if you don't know what's going on. But if you were to start saying it like 4 times in a row, 5 times in a row, repeating the same phrase or word multiple times, at what point does it get annoying? At what point do you go, okay, you can stop saying that now? Are they doing it to be annoying, or are they doing it to get a point across? Psalm 136 in the Bible says, his steadfast love endures forever. 26 times. Why? Because he wants to make sure that point comes across. No matter what happens in our life, no matter what's going on, God's love endures forever. Would Jesus do that again if he had the chance and had the choice? Yes. Why? Because his love endures forever. That's the message I have for you guys today. His love endures forever. He loves you more than you could possibly know. Think of the person that you love most in this world, be it a spouse, be it a child, whoever. And think about that multiplied by about 1,000. That's how Jesus feels about you, and his love never ends. I think that's pretty cool. That's what I wanted to bring to you guys today, because you know what? I thought that was a pretty cool story, pretty cool thing. I was hoping maybe you would too. Have yourself a good rest of the day. If you like these videos, please leave a like down below. Feel like subscribing. That would be cool because that helps us out as well. And leave a comment if you want to. So God bless you, and we'll talk to you another time.